My name is Teddy Jacobson of Actions by T. I am a pistol smith in Sugar Land, Texas. I am a trigger specialist and work on over 100 different models of handgun actions. In this tape, I will discuss all aspects of handgun sights in very clear detail. I will also explain the proper sight picture and how sight adjustments are determined. My only intention is honesty and integrity. I will tell you many things that no publication would ever print. I'm going to work off a checklist because there are so many things to cover. We're going to discuss fixed sights versus adjustable sights so you'll completely understand. This is a Smith & Wesson Model 640, and it has fixed sights. There is no adjustment. The front sight is a ramp, and it's got fluorescent orange on it, and the rear is a notch, and we have put fluorescent green on it. But there is no adjustment. Different bullet weights will impact at different places on the target. I'll explain that as we go. I'm going to show you a revolver with adjustable sights. This is a very old revolver, but if you'll see, the adjustable sights on this are stainless steel rear, stainless steel front. They are not highly visible, or there's no contrast between the front sight and the rear sight. So it could be quite confusing when you have stainless in the rear and stainless in the front. But we'll get into that. But this rear sight can be adjusted for windage, which is left to right, and elevation, which is up and down. There's a screw on the side that will show you. There's an adjustment with this screw, and there's an adjustment with this screw. This is the up and down adjustment, and this is the windage, which is left to right adjustment. Now, most carry guns, be it semi-autos or whatever, have fixed sights. This is a Sig Sauer, and it has aftermarket fixed sights. There is no adjustment other than you could move the rear sight left to right for windage. I'll get into that as we go, but I want you to understand the difference between an adjustable and a fixed sight. Dot sights, as you see here in this diagram I made, the orange is your front dot on your front blade. The yellow is your rear sight. These are ballpark sights, and when I say ballpark, they're not super accurate because the dots are never drilled exactly center. They're off a little. Sometimes there's more room on the top than there should be. Sometimes the dot is drilled a little low on the front sight. So they're never super accurate. You can still get 2-inch groups at 36 feet with a set of sights like this on a carry weapon. There's no question about it. I'll get into that as we go. I want to talk to you about sight picture. I'm going to put another little drawing up here. Now, a person's eye can only focus at one spot at a time. In other words, for instance, here is a semi-auto, and you have a rear sight here. There's a good 6 inches between them. it's longer than that. You cannot focus on the rear sight, the front sight, and the target at the same time. That's what I'm saying. A person can only focus either on the target, on the front sight, or on the rear sight. The proper way to do it is to focus on the front sight only. In other words, this should be blurred, the rear sight should be blurred, the front sight should be sharp and in focus to be a good, accurate pistol shot. There's no way the human eye can focus on all three and have them crystal sharp and crystal clear. Doesn't work that way. It's important that you find out which is your dominant eye. And I'm going to tell you how I do it. If I were to take my index finger and point it at a particular object with both eyes opened, I would close one eye, close my left eye, and my right eye shows it's still in the same spot. Now I open both eyes. Now I will close the other eye. I'll close the right eye and alternately see which one keeps your finger on point where you're pointed. First close one eye, look at the end of your index finger on your pointed object, on your target, then close the other eye and see which one keeps your finger exactly where you've got it pointed. The eye that keeps it centered where you have it, where your index finger is pointed, is your dominant eye. One eye is going to be off. That's the eye that I use for sight picture. I shoot my handguns with my dominant eye. It happens to be my right eye. It may happen to be your right eye, or it could be your left eye. Until you try this with your index finger, you won't know. So basically, that's very important. That's one of the first things you should do, is decide which is your dominant eye. And it's an easy procedure. If you get stuck and don't quite understand what I'm saying, you can always call me. I want to go over a sight adjustment theory with you. I'm going to take these two cards, lay them down. I've got some cards here I made and I want to show you. If you were to fire at a target, and this being your target, where the cross is here in the circle, that's your main target, and this is your cluster of bullets that you just fired. There's 4 bullets here. Now, in order to adjust the handgun sights to bring them into focus or bring them into the X on the target, dead center, you would move the rear sight in the direction you want the bullet to go. In other words, the rear sight would have to be moved down, and it would have to be moved to the left in this particular drawing. As we look at this drawing below, we're going to see the cluster of bullets we just fired is on the lower left. And so you would bring your rear sight up, in this case, and you would bring your rear sight to the right. What I'm saying is the rear sight has to be moved in the direction you want the bullet to go. Now, when you're talking about front sight, it's the opposite direction. I don't want to confuse you. So just mainly concentrate on rear sight movement. In this group here, the cluster of 4 shots is upper left. The rear sight would have to be moved to the right and down. In this target here, where the shots are low and to your right, the rear sight would have to be moved up and to your left to get it pinpointed in the center of the target. It's critical to understand that the rear sight has to be moved in the direction you want the bullets to go. Now, if you wanted to play around with the front sight, it's just opposite. I think you should stay just basically with adjusting the rear sight. It will keep you out of trouble. When you have a fixed sight gun, for instance, a gun like this has fixed sights. If you had to bring the bullets up or down on your target, it's very difficult because you've got a fixed rear. You would have to change the height of this sight by replacing it. It would be better to leave the front sight alone